Welcome, everybody. This is Bobby F. Perryhart here, coming to you on a very special super announcement. I am so happy to be here for you guys. This has been an amazing journey, an amazing a road so far. I just wanted to introduce this and introduce myself and basically let you guys know what we're about to do tonight. So sit back. It's going to take us about 45 to 60 minutes to get through all of this. And I hope you guys absolutely enjoy this. If you're watching this, it means that you've taken a step forward in your life. If you're watching this, it means that you have decided that there's something greater out there for you, whether it be that you're starting your own business, or you've become an entrepreneur, or you've found an offer, or you've created something online, or wherever it is. Maybe you have your own dream coaching business, your own dream consulting firm, or whatever it is that has driven you outside of the normal paradigm of go to school, get a job, spend 40 years at a career. I get that that's an amazing model that has brought us up till now, but for a select few of us, it is not exactly the dream. They say the American dream is more like an American nightmare, okay? And I'm Canadian, and it's absolutely the same thing up here. It's going to be the same thing in Europe. It's going to be the same thing all over the developed world. But I've come up with something really cool I wanted to share with you guys. So I've been inside and outside of a lot of conversations with a lot of people over the last 4 years, 5 years, since 2014, when I officially became an entrepreneur myself. And along this journey, I have become extraordinarily grateful for everything that I have in my life and everyone who supported me, even down to the people who have not supported me. And, it's crazy to think about that, because you think, I need my friends, I need my family, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes my friends and family weren't actually there for me in the way that I wanted them to be. They were there for me in the way they needed to be. And I just wanted to start this all off by just throwing out a really sincere gratitude for everyone who supported me, everyone who's been the wind at my back, even everyone who's been the spit in my face. Honestly, it's been a tough road. It's been a tough go. I've dealt with a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression in my life. I guess I'd like to say that I fit in, but I was there. I didn't fit in. The cool kids didn't really like me. Some of them did. I thought I was cool. I had to find other schools to hang around in. I was bullied a lot in school. People picked fights with me, and I picked fights back. And I'm like, screw that. I'm gonna do stuff back to you, bro. You can't just pick a fight with me and expect me to just sit there and take it. And that got me into a lot more trouble. That got me even more beat up. That got me kicked in the chest and shoved down a hill, spat on and beat up. And guys, it wasn't a very fun place to be. When I was around in high school, elementary school, even my friends in elementary school, made fun of me behind my back, and they would record stuff about me and play it for me just to let people know, and they would change the pitch on it so that I didn't know who was talking. I just heard them all insulting me, and I had to say that I added gas to the flame, because I did really nerdy stuff as a kid. I always did something that people would laugh at me for, or I tried to be fun, or I tried to be accepted. And the more you try to do something, really, it's the less it happens. So, I made a life out of becoming a people pleaser, and I wanted to, be good at making people happy. And that, led me into sales. It led me into customer service. I was the guy who was notorious for having a new job. It was always a new job, always a new job, always a new job. And that also included always getting fired, never being stable, unable to create, that all-elusive career. And I thought I was going to go to school. I couldn't go to school. Oh, I'm going to be in car sales. Couldn't sell cars. Oh, I'm going to do, retail. I did retail so many different places. Just couldn't find my fit. Couldn't find my, the place where I was supposed to be. I've had over 30 jobs. So in case anyone's like, whoa, from door to door to call center, inbound to outbound, from McDonald's to the bank, from shoes to cars, from clothes to God knows what, to chimney cleaning, okay, to gas furnace cleaning. Like you name it, I've done it. I've worked for what's that place called? It Children's World something. I don't even know. I was like door to door. I even got fired one time before I even started the job. Like really, Bobby just can't catch a break here. Okay, wrongly dismissed, fired for being high on the job, fired for stealing, like you name it. Okay, like it was just misery, and I was running out of places to work. I was running out of places to get a job, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like this is just tough. And then, what was it, 2010 or yeah, around there, 2009, 2010 my cousin gave me another opportunity to get an interview at a call center. And some of you guys may know the story or not. I'm just gonna share this with you guys here. I had already interviewed at this company like about twice. This was the third time. They passed on me. They passed on me again. He tried to make some moves and wheels and deals. Couldn't get it done. Third time around, I got the job. And I was super excited. I said, this is it. I'm going to keep my head on straight. I'm just going to, and it wasn't sales. It was tech support. This was a weird new area for me. I was like, I'll find new things to do. Call center. Okay, sure. I could be on a phone. I've never kind of done. I worked at eBay. I did tech support call center or customer service call center stuff. Got fired there. And then so I got to this place and, I was doing tech support internet company for people dealing with their cable, their internet, or their phone. And, most of the people who call are people who don't know how to use computers. They're, frustrated at technology. So they didn't really kind of, they weren't hip with the program. And it was a lot of red wire, plug in, no, the red wire needs to play. And it was a lot of that. Okay. So it was like disarming a bomb over the phone. People are like, oh, this internet doesn't work. And, this is a bad internet. I'm going to the competitor company because, their internet is better. And the guy's offering me a really good deal. And I was pretty good at sales because, I was like this smooth talking, slick walking kind of guy. Right. And so I was like, okay, I fixed their internet connectivity issue. And then after gaining their trust, I would suddenly now start offering them products that they didn't have. So I was like, basically like making a friend and then, taking them with me to becoming, like to buy more channels or, prevent them from disconnecting their service or, helping them with their thing there that they're going through or whatever. And then the opportunity came to get promoted. The opportunity came again to get promoted again. And here we are, like 1 year later, 2 years later, I'm in the third year now. And this is unheard of for me inside of my history. Okay. This is absolutely unheard of. I've never once stayed at a job for this long. Up till now, the longest thing that I've had that competed with this job was a relationship and high school. Other than that, like I really did not have the experience of that long at anything. Other than those, having a miserable relationship that lasted like 4 years or 3 years. And then another, stint in high school from grades 9 through 12 was 4-year high school, right? So I was basically growing and climbing and growing and climbing, and I had become the top sales. I had found my legs inside of my career, and next thing you know, I made $50,000 in a year, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And then the next year I made $60,000, and this was unheard of. I was the guy who was like struggling to make 20 to 25,000 and working 2 jobs. And every year I'm Canadian, so they give you T4s. It's like your notice of assessment or how much you made this year. Every year I would get like 1 or 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 0 T4s. That would and it would be an accountant's nightmare, right? Where I would be paying too much tax, or I would get huge refunds because I was always overtaxed because nobody knew that I was working so many jobs until it was tax season. And then I'm like, oh, I paid way too much. I didn't need to pay all this. So it was an interesting sort of journey in learning how to become an employee, the world's like worst employee. Holy smokes. And, so I was climbing the corporate ladder. And, it's an interesting game, the corporate ladder. Nobody tells you it's a game of snakes and ladders. And, I got up to a certain point, and next thing you know, it was the sales corner. Okay. I was the top sales agent in the entire country. I got to sit in the department that was for retention. So someone would call me up and be like, rah, and I end to be pissed. The bill, this thing doesn't work, or the door-to-door competitor came to their house and sold them a deal, and they were, I want to close my account, and I'd be like, okay, I'd love to do that for you, and I would take them through my process. I'm sorry that we've lost you as a customer. This is embarrassing. I pride myself on my job. I pride myself on this company. We're strong for really strong values. And, can I ask you what happened? What's the deal? I'm just closing your account right now, doing this little clickety thing, right? Like making the noise on the keyboard as I'm like closing their account. And then they'd be like, oh, the price is too high and I'm not getting the value. This time my internet doesn't work and I'm having this issue and I'm just super frustrated and my TV, this and that and whatever. And so having my technical support background here for like a year and a half, 2 years, I would be like, well, okay, and then I would just inspire confidence in them. I'm like, okay, I can appreciate you want to take another product and try it out and see what it works, but like our internet is the best, right? Like our cable is like top shelf. Like there's no comparison to our service. I mean, I see and deal with this all the time. I mean, I know exactly what your issue is. Would you be willing to see if we could make it work and see if we can get you the better cat videos and like just jokes with them, right? And I would help them with whatever simple, weird little mystical knowledge I had available at the time to get their stuff working. They're like, Bobby, I'm putting you in my pocket. You're a good guy. I appreciate you. Thank you. Customer for life. And I'd be like, hold on a second. About 4 or 5 of your friends are going through the same issue and they don't speak up about it. So, I've got a refer program. Can we get moving on the people? And I went on the offense. Corporate doesn't like that. Okay. So this is like, just in case you're super happy in your career, do not stick out like a sore thumb. If you do not want to be an entrepreneur or create wealth on your own terms and live a freedom lifestyle, it's hard work. I get it. Yeah. Try to be one of the herd. Okay. And that was my advice. That was advice that was given to me from my cousin who got me the job. It was like, after I got fired, great, hindsight's 2020. He's like, why did you try to be the biggest and the baddest and the best and the top? And, why did you try to innovate so much? And why were you like, it was an inbound call center. So here I am crushing sales records. Like second place is like, it's a far fall down, like not like it, like on a yearly average. And people are looking at me bewildered, being like, how do you have so many sales? You take, just as many calls as we do. And like your sales are like 3 times as much. Like, what's the deal? Like you're stealing, you're cheating, you're faking it, you're doing shady business and this and that. I'm like, I'm refer a friend, baby. Like I get people in my hand and then I go for the second sale. Cause here I was interestingly enough, part of what we're going to talk about today. It started back then. I literally was like at that moment in my life where I had started reading Zig Ziglar. I started reading John C. Maxwell, Law of the Leadership, and people are kind of looking at me weird because they've got their Dungeons and Dragons books and their fantasy novels and all this cool stuff they're bringing with them for their call center so they can read their stuff while they like piss away their life. And here I am like reading. And no offense to anyone who loves fantasy novels, okay? But here I am reading stuff that's going to help me become a better sales leader. Here I am reading stuff that's going to help me become a better component to the team. I want to become promoted. I want to become a supervisor. I want to become a manager, a district, a regional, a director, a blah, blah, blah. And, keep me going. This is how I'm going to make my $100,000 a year. That was my career plan because I finally found a seat and I was like, that's it. I'm sitting in there. I won a sales contest in 2013, and they gave me a $2,000 little Yamaha 50cc scooter. It was awesome. I was driving around downtown Vancouver with this thing. It was crazy. I used to drive from like Surrey, I think I lived at the time, park downtown where my little bike was, and then just like I had bike parking about three blocks away, and underground parking. I'd hop on my bike, put on my helmet, and then I would just, and then 6, 7, 8 blocks, I would go to my call center and I'd put my helmet there and I, have my dual screens and I'm ready to go. And next thing you know, they're like, halt on all products, all sales, all this and that, and you're under review. And I'm like, okay, well, review all this. I mean, take all you got. But I mean, this is basically, where we're going with this. We have to become white glove and we have to create a place for people to come and see us. And, this personal touch thing is really good. It's working for us. So I'm like thinking, sweet, this is my opportunity to show them. No, they're like, no, you're using too much credits. You're using too much this. You're using too many promos and too many discounts. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, because, I'm making a lot of sales. Like, isn't that like the whole point of this? Like, I'm confused here. And then they start pulling out my calls. They don't like the way I talk to customers. And I'm like sitting there like, kind of like, okay, where's this going? And then they're like, yeah, you're fired. And I'm like, what? I don't, huh? And then they're like, yeah, no, you're done. And I'm like, I don't get this. And I'm just kind of like, my heart, I remember this feeling. I'm just sitting there kind of like, okay, here we go again. And and it's funny because I was just super sad because obviously I was literally just posting about how I was proud of my 76-hour weeks. I was proud of my 65-hour week. I was like, if you need a job, you need to come work for this company. It's the best place. To treat their employees awesome. If you need a deal, if you're dealing with a problem, or if you hate your competitor, I'm here for you. And if you guys scroll down to my 2013 Facebook or early 2014, you'll see some of this stuff. So just so you know, I was there. And, next thing you know, they're like, plink, and like 17th floor, that's where I work. I felt like they kicked me off of the 17th floor. And I was just like, and on the elevator down, my newbie, green behind the ear, wet behind the ears, green supervisor was like, he gets promoted because he didn't break the rules. He didn't break the law. He didn't step outside of anything. I was a units crusher. So I was making the team look like steroids. And next thing you know, this guy gets promoted. Well, my mentor, my supervisor, he gets promoted. The space is like, oh, I'm coming for it. I'm coming for it. I go for the interview. Same lady who fires me was like, you don't have the business acumen. She's kind of smirking at me, being like, you're not ready for this. And I'm like, I'm not ready for this. You ain't ready for this. And I was like, fine, just tell me what I need to know. Tell me what I need to do. How do I need to grow from this? And hey, in 6-12 months, when something else comes up, I'm going to come in. I'm going to do it again. And I was determined. And, this was like my vision. My vision was to become a sales director at a large telecom. Okay. So, fast forward to the fateful events. I'm getting kicked out. The replacement supervisor, he's red as a tomato. Okay. When I had my old supervisor, it was like, oh, don't touch Bobby. He's mine. I got him. And that was it. But now this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's completely brand new. And then the manager's like, you don't even know what's going on in your own team. She's getting in trouble from her directors. You don't even know what's going on in your own team. She came in and just sliced me out like I was a piece of watermelon on the Fruit Ninja, okay? So he's taking me down the elevator, and I'm just like, and I'm like trying to save my face and save some whatever last little grasp straws of ego that I've got, right? And I'm like, he's like, I'm like, sorry about this. I'm like, no, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, get you in trouble like this, right? Well, it's a pleasure working with you, bro, and all the best to you, and see you on the other side, and we'll always be friends. He didn't want to talk to me after that. I don't care, whatever, didn't matter. But I was super sad, and I was like, I remember leaving the door. I remember opening the door, walking out for the last time as an employee. Walked in again a few times to get my stuff handled because I still use the company. I still use the product. I believe in it that much. I wasn't angry enough to switch telecom company. I don't know what was the point of that. I was like, I'm happy. It's the best. These are the best products ever. I can't help that they've got monkeys in the management. It's like, whatever. This is corporate Canada. What can you do? So and it was so I remember opening the door, and I'm thinking to myself, like, in the matter of a couple minutes here, a couple seconds, I can't keep doing this. Like, I cannot keep, finding another job to get fired from. Like, I had lost faith in formal employment, completely lost faith in formal employment. And so I was like, well, I remember thinking about my friend, and, he worked for the competitor company, and he left, and he made the climb. He went from door to door. He went into manager, supervisor. He became regional. He became a director, and then, at the top, he was biting his finger being like, I'm done. I gotta go. I'm building my own business. So here I am being like, and then here he is being like, toodaloo. And he left to go and build his own brand, his own business, his own legacy, his own thing. Okay. He's got his, like, like, this is the guy who crushed it in sales, crushed in his company, ended up getting the company car with his name on the license plate. All right. So we're talking straight up. He knows what he's doing. And here I am sitting faithfully at an office with a call center, just, doing my best and my earnest and my hardest just to follow my dad's advice. He says, don't get a business. Don't go into business. Get a good job at a good company, good, big growing company where you can really get in properly. Don't deal with the whole entrepreneur thing. It's not worth it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, my parents are clothing retailers. They've been in brick and mortar business since I was born. Like, these guys are seriously like telling me now not to follow in their footsteps. That was my childhood dream, is to become a business owner. I wanted my own hip hop t-shirt shop. You could sell your mix CDs there, and you can get like a cool sandwich and stuff, and play video games on a big screen TV, and just grab your t-shirts. And that was it. That was my dream, was to create a nice little comfy mom and pop spot, and just be like the hip hop aficionado in Vancouver. Okay, so it was funny, but didn't quite pan out, gladly. And so I said to myself, well, I better call him, because I give up, and as they say, if you can't beat them, join them. Okay, I was running out of options. I was running out of confidence. I quickly, fire blasted a bunch of resumes out at every single telecom that I could get my hands on. And luckily, someone quickly pulled me in, and I started another call center job, same position, different company. And they were looking at my resume being like, yo, you're in. And I'm like, this is happening again. This is happening again. The desks aren't the hexagonal shape now. Instead, they're like a circular shape. And it was like, the difference between Family Guy and Simpsons, if anybody knows those shows, are kind of like, like somewhat the same, but somewhat different. It was almost like being in a parallel reality here. Okay, so I'm like, but at the same time, I was like, I need an exit strategy. I need something that I can do. I cannot just do this anymore. I will not just do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And so I called my friend, and I'm like, hey man, I'm ready to get started. Whatever you're doing, however it looks, I don't care. I hear you're into this cool new thing, whatever. Sign me up, get me in, whatever. I'm an entrepreneur now. And he's like, way to go, good job, straight up, okay, awesome. And I started to be an entrepreneur. This is like the beginning, and this was like 2014. But see, the problem was that I was this angry employee. I had a mindset of an angry employee. I was like, F you, pay me. I work 8 hours to 8 hours of pay. The world owes me something. I've got a chip on my shoulder. I've got the perfect thing now. You better listen to this, because this is the best thing since sliced bread. And, anyone who joins a network marketing business, first thing up front, yeah, it's the best thing since sliced bread, until you get sliced like sliced bread by everybody who knows you, likes you, and thought you knew, that trusted you. Because now they're all like, oh, you're Illuminati pyramid scheme. Get away from me from that stuff. I'm never going to talk to you again. That stuff is crazy. What the hell did you do? This is the last type of business you get in before you do something really stupid, right? And I'm like, okay. I had my butt slapped and handed to me, like left, right, and center. My mom, my parents, my family. I put together the home meeting. I showed to my parents. My dad was just looking at me like this, like this is what I got to deal with now. Like, this is it. This is what my son's doing now. Like, and my mom is like, why can't you get a career? And he's just sitting there looking at me while she's like trying to like speak reason into me. He's like, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. And I can't believe this. And, because in order to get to business, you got to put some money down, right? So I'm like, sign me up for the big boy package. I put like $10,000. I'd made $60K. I had some RSPs. Okay. I had credit. I had savings. I was still living at home. So I knew what I was doing here. I had some money. I had figured it out. And I was like, they can't hold me. Who cares about them? Too. I'm going to go and I'm going to build myself and build my business. And I'm going to be a business owner. And I'm going to be like, Robert Kiyosaki or something like that. Who cares? So I was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Got my butt handed to me. Okay. I felt like I was just ping-ponged in between friends. I called people back, cousins. I tried calling them. I couldn't dial their number. My cousin wouldn't let me dial her number. I was like, we're on the edge of a deal. And then, next thing you know, she's like, oh, I got to wait. My husband, this and that. I'm like, what's the real reason? What's going on? It's just smoke and mirrors. And she hangs up on me. And then I call her back and she blocked me from calling her. I was best man at my cousin's wedding. He blocked me from Facebook. It's like when you put a drop of soap in a little greasy water thing, you see all the oil just go, bleh, and that's what I felt like everybody had done. I was just like, bleh, and they ran away from me at light speed. And I'm like, okay. So here I am, ego very bruised, and every 2 months, about every month and a half, 2 months, a cousin or an old-time friend, another cousin, another old-time friend, who, there's that group of people who are not going to fail you. They've been with you since the very, very beginning, okay? They came on board. And, I was like, see, I told you I could do this. And then really I couldn't. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing everything wrong. I was absolutely not building my business properly. I was just shining my ego. I was living off of debt. I was living off of credit cards. I was going to events. I was playing the part. I was putting the suit on. I was doing the demos. I was going into the events, but I wasn't doing the networking. I wasn't doing the hard skills. I was learning about them. I was becoming here. See this? This is like a growing library. I can't do this properly. Of all my personal development and my books, and I was like reading everything, and I was becoming an encyclopedia. Anyone who needed something, they would come to me. Anyone who wanted an answer to something kind of technical, they'd come to me. Anyone who I was the high fiver and you could do this, and I was always celebrating everyone else's successes. I was closing sales for other people. I was helping other people out, but I was needs to be liked Bobby. So every single time that it came up for me to try to do something, it was almost impossible. I felt like I kept on getting chipped, blocked, but every so often, kind of like a coma, this little little sale would come through. Another sale would come through. Another sale would come through, and it would keep me. Especially if anybody knows the type of offer and businesses and wealth that we create, the paychecks get pretty big pretty quickly. So here I am, selling these big boy packages, and it was like $1,000 and $2,000 and $1,500 and a $2,500 commission. So I could cover my mistakes pretty well. I also burned through all of my savings, and then I started burning through all of my credit. Then I started burning into all of my debt. I ballooned it up to like $20,000 worth of debt that I consider my curriculum learning experience. Okay, now that I look back at it all, but the reality is that I wasn't investing in myself. I had a seriously, twisted, hate relationship with jobs, and I was angry at employees, and your job sucks, and you need to join a business, and you join my business, and it was not like I was giving people a problem before they even needed a solution, and that was like, oh, you're sick, you're this, you're not doing the right thing for your body, you need this, and you don't even know you have this problem here, and your job sucks, and you're getting fired at any time. And people are kind of looking at me like, boy, have you lost your damn mind? And I'm kind of like, yes, I have. I'm super passionate. Don't confuse my enthusiasm for pressure and all this stuff. And I was reading all this stuff, and slowly by slowly, I was kind of inching my way forward, or inching my way closer to a level of competence, I guess you'd say, because always smooth talker, slick walker, right? So I was basically getting my verbiage and my confidence, and it started to turn into one rank advancement, then another rank advancement. These were painful, slow pieces of the puzzle that basically started to grow through the track. And then next thing you know, about 6, 7, 8 months later or something, at the end of the year, I was introduced to numerology. This is crazy, guys. My mentor, okay, friend of mine from high school, in business together now. I'm like his protege. I'm going to do everything he tells me to do, and except for doing the right thing when he says to do it, right? It was just coming up with excuses and cheerleading, and people are like, oh, yeah. I'm doing it. Oh, yeah, everything's going great. And then I hang up the phone. I'm like, I got nothing going on, right? And so he comes up to me later, or at some certain point, he's like, I got to show you something. This is really crazy stuff. And, it's numerology. And I'm like, I know numerology. I'm a life path 11. I get it. 1111, all these cool numbers. He's like, no, this is something you've never seen before. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's check this out. So I started learning numerology. And I promise there's a really cool point to all this. Started learning numerology, blew my freaking mind. And most of you guys who are watching this, who have seen this, have worked with me already. I absolutely love it. Appreciate you guys for the value and the power and a massive amount of change you've been able to create. But I found it. And when I found numerology, I'll tell you something. I went in for a session, again. I went in for another session, again. I went in for the program, again. I went in for the event, again. I went in again and again and again. And I kept on going back until I recognized that I was on a loop-de-loop and all the numbers and the information started to recycle itself. First thing I did when I learned how to read a number, when I learned how to read a chart, read a birthday, I went online. This is back in the day. This is 2014, maybe early beginning 2015. Let's gonna say 2014 fall. So before go lives, before videos, before you would go out there and do this, when I do recording myself talking, right? And I was this keyboard warrior inside of my spiritual groups being like, yo, check this out, numerology, put your birthday in the chat, in the comments, and I'll give you a free reading. And I kid you not, one full entire day came around. I didn't leave my computer. The second except for bathroom breaks and grabbing some food while I'm eating it. I'm like eating it and someone's like their birthday and I go and I give them a 10-minute thing. And I wish I had this thread still. I wish I could find this thread. I couldn't keep up and I kept on going and I was plugged into the grid and into the vibe. And on the third day, we're talking like, this is like 48 straight hours and then 12 hours into the third day. So 2.5 days straight, no sleep. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. 2.5 full days of me on my keyboard and just giving people readings and reading their birthdays. Just birthdays. Oh my God, I can't believe this. What did you just, like, how did you know? It's like you've known me. And these comments started to come in. That's something my grandfather used to say. How did you know that? You're like a psychic. This is crazy. And I'm just like, I was starting to, like, like a spin top. You spin it and then it starts to wobble. That's what I did. I was like, and then I had to like pull myself out of my computer. I'm in a stupor. I smell pretty fun. Okay. And I'm like, I was looking at my hands, like almost like I was like this. And I'm like, what did I find? What did I just find? And I shut the computer off. I just shut the computer off, and I I went to sleep, and weirdest feeling. I got up and I felt taller. I felt clearer. I felt like I had like the same feeling I got when I got hydrated for the first time, truly hydrated for the first time. And I went to sleep and I think I slept for like a day and a half and I didn't have a job, right? At the time I quit my job, and because I had worked at another call center, didn't work out. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. I'm going to build my business. Coincidentally, they didn't give me the time off I needed and it was a scheduling error. And they were like, you can come back. I'm like, sorry, I got to go. I'm going full on entrepreneur. And then this is, I find numerology and I start, building my business and I just got this spiritual technology in, and it was starting to, but I wasn't doing this as a business. It wasn't a coaching program yet. I wasn't a numerologist yet. I was just someone who knew numbers. And I would do them for people in my team. I would do them for people that I knew. I would do them as a quick little cool party trick. But when someone's like, oh, you should become in business, I was like, this is it. I had my money story all messed up. I was like, you can't do that for a business. That's so distasteful. This is a spiritual art. This is not a form of, business. You can't just make money off of this. Okay. I already have a business. I'm already an entrepreneur. This is just my secret weapon that I get to use for all my entrepreneurs to make sure that they're, aligned and they have the power within them. And, so I had a very interesting, mindset about what I was doing. And I had just opened myself up I would say I had forcefully opened myself up through psychedelics and, mushrooms and, the hippie drugs, all that stuff. And basically it was like journeying into my path is like a shamanic healer, I used to call myself when I was a kid, and like this, ancient, like spiritual incarnation of I was really, it was a messed up sort of time of my life, but I was, exploring the limits of my consciousness. Okay. So little did I know that the guy who creates DNA or finds the DNA, he was on LSD. So there's these people who are actually winning Nobel Peace Prizes and Nobel Prize for they attest and attribute their discoveries to having a psychedelic experience, right? That doesn't mean you become a junkie like I did. But the problem was that I took this name and my life started to unravel. And here I am trying to build this business, living on debt, living on false sense of pride, needs to be liked, doesn't want to show up for real, just wants to pretend like I'm showing up, and basically just live this lifestyle until I ran out of money to afford myself. And I came crashing down again. And I'm sitting there like, what am I not communicating to myself? Do I just don't like me? I mean, do people not like me? What am I not communicating properly to them? And, I started to like really, I was really depressed. I was really upset. And, while I was living the life, I picked up a really negative habit to addiction of drugs. And, I started, I was always smoking weed. I started to do psychedelics and mushrooms came in, and then I started to do coke, and, I was doing a lot of it, and I wasn't the type of guy to party and do alcohol. I wasn't really a drinker. So it wasn't like I'm out there, like just jibbing and vibing and trying to get with people. And no, I was in my room by myself, depressed, calling this my painkiller. This was my medication. Okay. I didn't want to be around people. I hated it. And I got another job, and, it was like I can't remember what job I was getting at this time. I think I got hired at the mall selling cell phones. Okay. So I was, just angrily putting on this stupid dress shirt and like looks like an idiot. It smells bad when I smell bad, and I hated it. And, I'm at the mall, and if you know anything about the mall, 16-year-olds, that's what you get there. Okay. And here I am like 30, and I'm like the top sales, just crushing it, helping everybody with their cell phone needs. I don't know how to do no worries. I got you. Come over here. People would line up to see me. Okay. Because they wanted my service. They wanted me to help them transfer their data or transfer their phone. Or it's like, oh, can I help you? And they're like, I'm waiting for that guy. They'd call in, ask for me. Like I was building clientele at the retail center. You can't do that. Okay. So anyway, so I get fired from that job as well, because apparently I didn't see that one coming. A friend of mine on a busy Saturday. Anyway, never mind. I tendered a sale, and I was like, I'll just buy this as well. And I swiped my own card, and I basically paid for my own sale. That's like, oh my God, you're stealing. And I'm like, what? No, no. They're like, no, there's strict policy, absolute non-negotiable. You're done. You're out of here. And I'm like, again. And, this time I'm like, I've got a really ridiculous $120 every couple of days. Okay. I'm spending it all on drugs, and I'm like lying to my parents. I'm just sitting in my room, and I don't care about anyone. And then, and I'm just like, okay, and I, it's just, and I would smoke weed out of my bathroom window. And then I would just basically just, do, the powder stuff up the nose kind of thing. And I was basically living my life like that. And it was just video games, bad food, bad things on TV, the whole nine. And I was like, basically I spent almost a year on my bed, and I had my bed set up, my TVs, they're here now. And my TVs were set up, my bed was set up, and I basically just lived like I was in a vegetation state, coma state. And, my life was basically just going nowhere fast. It was just really sad, really. But of course I had that job. So my parents were like, good for you, son, you know, way to go. And, you know, good for you. Get that job and keep it this time. And this is not, I'm like, yes, dear. Yes, dad. Yes, mom. And that feeling, you know, sorry, yes, dear didn't come till I got married. But, you know, I basically had given up all hopes on being an entrepreneur. I was still carrying my weird looking water jug. People made fun of me. I was talking about numerology. They're like, well, if you told that, what are you doing here? And I'm like, you know, good point. Never mind. You know what? This is a customer coming. And I would basically, I just didn't believe in myself. I had a really poor level of mindset, a really poor level of skills. I did not have my spirit was just crushed. And I was communicating all of the wrong things to myself. Okay. And my numerology wasn't going anywhere. So next thing you know, I get a girlfriend, and, you know, she doesn't have a place to stay. So I offered her to come to my house. My mom was like, screw that. You can't bring a girl, some random girl. I'm like, she's my girlfriend. And my mom's like, no, you can't bring some girl I don't know into the house. I'm like, okay, well, you can meet her. And then she's like, no, not going to happen. And I got so frustrated because I was like, 31 and you won't let me bring a girl home? And I'm like, this is so pathetic. I'm 31 and I live at home, and my mom is not she's just, you know, being really like, you know, being really bad. And I'm like, you know, to me, or so I thought, I felt like the world owes me, right? That's my attitude. And next thing you know, I said, that's it. I'm moving out. I don't care. I'm leaving. I have to find my own place. I'm sorry. I love you guys. I thank you for everything, but I can't live here, and I can't live at home at 31, 30, whatever it was. This is pathetic. Like, I have to get the hell out of here. So I gave them my notice, and I went to go search for a place to live. Me and my girlfriend, and I just known her for about a couple of weeks. But I'm like, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna save you, and whatever you need, I'm gonna be there for you, because, you know, I'm going all in, you know. So I went all in, and I found a place to stay with my friends. They were getting a house. Just so happens they had an extra basement suite available for us. I was like, perfect, sweet. It's like $1,200, whatever, you know, like full on. Let's get the house. And then I noticed, because we were dating for 3 weeks, that I wasn't doing any drugs. And I'm like, looked at my hand. Huh, steady. Interesting. So you mean to tell me, and I'm having this conversation with myself, if I get addicted to girl, then I'm no longer addicted to substance. So I told her that. And I'm like, I just want to be fair and honest with you. We're moving in and everything. I just want to let you know about what happened. And I told her my whole story up to that point. You know, drug abuse, addiction, this and that. And she wasn't no prize peach either. This girl smokes weed all the time, and she basically does like acid as if she's like popping Skittles. And I'm like, okay, so you're into psychedelics. Cool, weird. I was into, you know, really hard stuff. And she got wide open, scared. She's like, no, I don't get down with that. And we got to break up. And I'm like, I'm moving out for you. We're going to, you know, we're going to get a place and this and that, right? That weekend I got fired from my job, and I get broken up with my girlfriend. And then I'm like, super awesome Valentine's Day, right? And then next thing you know, I was like just gutted, broken. And she gave me a parting gift of LSD to sort of let me on my way. It was like really weird. And then because I couldn't afford blow, because I had gotten fired. I didn't have any money at the point. You know, I was saving all my pennies to move out. And so I'm high on acid. Girlfriend breaks up with me. I lose my job. I'm reeling. I'm just like seeing through the kaleidoscopic reality of this fifth dimension. I'm like, whoa. I walk into my parents' room and I tell them the whole addiction. I get real with them. I'm like, I just want to let you guys know I got fired again. And my dad's just like, you know, and my mom just sort of sits there on her bed, sort of now looking at me. I got fired, and my girlfriend broke up with me, and I've been addicted to you know, to blow for the last like year and a half, since like 2015 or whatever it was. And they're just like, And then I'm like, and I'm still moving out. I'm still moving out. I can't stay here anymore. I coming clean was a reality check for me. There were a couple of close calls where I was on like 4 or 5 different drugs at the same time. Okay, it's a real trip, and I was wondering if this was it, and this was the moment where my heart was doing too much breakdancing, and I thought I was just gonna like bust and explode, and I was gonna be one of those guys you find like the next day. And my mom was like, we can't let him go. My dad's like, get out. And my mom's like, no, what are you doing? And they start fighting. And, and I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about everything. The reason why I'm telling you is because I can't build a life for myself unless I become vulnerable, unless I come clean, unless I, share I let people know, because that's part of the healing process. So I read, so I heard. I didn't want to do this anymore. I was sick and tired. I was like, I can't keep getting fired. I can't keep getting, like this. I just couldn't do this anymore. And I tailed between my legs. I left the house. I moved in by myself. My aunt graciously swept in and gave me a job at a taxi company. I worked graveyard shifts, taking calls, for people, and running their numbers, in the background, drawing, pitching, doing numerology readings for the people I worked with. Worked my first and last ever union job. It was just pitiful, and it was basically, a nighttime call taker. I was basically taking calls. We're going to get you. Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. On its way. Yeah, sure. No, every call was like 10 to 15, 20 seconds, sometimes longer. I get chewed at. Where's my taxi? Yes, I'm sorry, sir. You didn't pay your bill. And, whatever it was, there was notes on the account. And I'm just like sitting there looking at this. I'm like, I'm going to die here. I'm just going to die here. I don't care anymore. And then they're like, oh, supervisor position is up for grabs. And I'm like, oh, and that part of me is like being pulled towards it, being like, I should excel. I should get promoted. I should find stability and leadership and management again. And, what am I doing? Like just being this, like, I had so much skill, so much potential. I was just sick and tired of this. And I was like, this sucks. This is really sad. And, I was just like, basically just weeping through my year, and, I got really sad and, I was depressed, and the drugs were gone. I was still smoking a lot of weed, so I guess I can't say the drugs were gone. But I stopped doing the really stupid ones, and what ended up happening was I started building and piecing my life back together. And a friend of mine calls me and says, "Hey, do you want to gig at a call center, make some serious cash outbound?" I was like, "Sure, okay." And anything to get me out of this weird looking call center. At the same time, I also I started to do numerology sessions. People would pay me, to talk to them. And I started to like get back into the leadership conversation, because by this time I almost had 100 sales in my business. It's like 50, 60, 70 sales, something like that in my business. And I was growing. Every so often someone else would come up with the sale, and, our business is super forgiving. So I would just get paid anyways for it. So all the while my business was sitting at a coma. So then next thing you know, my numerology starts to, hi, I'm here, and starts to build me a coaching business, which is where a lot of you guys know me from. So I started, working with you guys, doing one-on-ones, consulting, found out that I've got some really cool psychic superpower abilities to really weave in and help you do the spiritual heavy lifting that you really need to take care of inside of yourself, inside of your soul. And it was absolutely insane. It was just a wonderful feeling to think I was going to work, making a couple $100 a day. So my paychecks were like $2,000, $3,000 every 2 weeks. I was like, whoa, this is not bad, Bobby. What you got? Like I quit my job at the taxi company, and then I would come home in a hurried frenzy. Okay, I would come home in a frenzy, and I'd be like, I've got sessions. I would take 2 sessions, 3 sessions as soon as I got home. Smoke some weed, go to bed, repeat. And I was like, wait a second, I'm coming home, spending 2-3 hours making $200-$400, and then, or I'm going 8 hours a day with a potential of making anywhere from 100 to 500. So if you guys can do the math there, my business started to take off in a way that I didn't need my job anymore. And I started growing, and it was a painful process to piece all these things together, because There was no system. There was no order. It was all chaos. It was a Wild West. And, you know, as I was trying to figure myself out in business, they changed. Suddenly it's internet marketing. Suddenly it's digital marketing. Suddenly it's attraction style marketing. Suddenly now it's affiliate marketing. And this business keeps on flying, keeps on growing. And here I am getting better and better at the numerology conversation. I'm helping create some serious results with people who are ready to go and they're, you know, building their life as an entrepreneur. I created a very powerful lifestyle, a very powerful income. You know, I met Sally. I moved to the island. I said goodbye to jobs forever. I created my own coaching firm. You know, we had my son. We traveled the world. I got a chance to speak on stage. So my brand is building. Next thing you know, I'm creating the app. I got a chance to, you know, build, you know, the programs that, you know, we're working on. We're getting into events and all of this stuff started to really snowball. I spoke on stage in front of hundreds of people, you know, across the world. It was amazing. Absolutely wonderful, beautiful. I started circling around and I've seen hundreds, then into the thousands of different birthdays, charts, entrepreneurs, people who I could just tell would make it and people who I could just tell were going through a lot of challenge and a lot of trouble in their life. So here I am, you know, piece by piece by piece, becoming a household name. And people are like, you got to see Bobby, you got to see Bobby, you got to see Bobby. And in, you know, certain sites you go to, www.createloveandwealth.xyz, you see a lot of people out there just talking about this. They're talking about me. Like, you got to see Bobby. Holy shit, this conversation was nuts. And every time I do this, I've got people who are coming out and just reaching out, being like, yo, man, straight up, you changed my life. Straight up, you did something for me. Since I talked to you, this XYZ happened. Since I talked to you, I had a $65,000 a month. Since I talked to you, my business exploded into the 7 figures. Since we had a chance to talk, I was sitting there looking at this being like, whoa, I finally found it. I finally combined the numerology with my business or with my wealth. What once was a taboo, you know, and then everything came crashing down and I started to build it up again. So through this process, now that I've gotten to this place that I've had now, comes full on, straight up, like super long-winded, I know, special announcement that's coming up. I put it all together. I put it all together for you guys in a very powerful way. And this is the seed. This is like, of all of the harvest, of everything that came through, I found this one magic bean, this one magical seed that I share with you guys today. And I mean, my journey was not as, what can I say? It was a bit of a challenge because, how am I doing here? Just trying to find my notes. Oh my God. Okay. What's going on here? So I was, you know, I was basically just taking a look at how do I help an entrepreneur? Because I noticed some people are successful, some people are not. Some people got it, some people don't. Some people just, oh, I got a new name change and suddenly everything. Some people I work with, nothing happens. And I'm like, okay. Or something bad happens. I'm like, okay. And I had to sort of step back and realize this. And all the while, author to book to course to program to Eric Worre this to Michael Bernoff that to Grant Cardone this to Jordan Belfort this, and everywhere I would go, Malcolm Gladwell, John C. Maxwell, and Les Brown, and I'm collecting a sweep of mentorship, a sweep of leadership, Bob Proctor, of learning stuff that I had to learn about in order to, you know, get to where I was going, which was, you know, confidence, unconscious competence inside of my, you know, like my business and my brand. But I recognized that I had become someone who could help people get to where they wanted to get to. And as a result of it, I started living this freedom lifestyle. And you know, it's pretty exhilarating, a little anxious sometimes to not have a safety net, to not have a guaranteed paycheck coming every 2 weeks if I just show up for 8 hours a day, right? Like that part of me was like a distant memory now. I'm like, fine. Employee mindset. I got crushed and needed. I felt like my brain turned into like ground beef. Like every part of my ego was just, I gave up. I told everyone. I told my cousins, my family. I told you guys. I started telling everybody about addiction. I got to speak on addiction, about the real power, the real thing that people are going through. And so it came around and it started to create a shape. It created this shape of things that I needed to mention to someone in order to become successful. Okay, ears perk up, guys. This is it. This is where the program comes. This is where the whole story comes to its fruition. This was the flower that was born from the magic seed of my journey as an entrepreneur. And it's interesting because one flower can change the world. The first flower, Bloom Consciousness, now suddenly explodes into a field of them, explodes into a forest of them. We pollinate into other different companies now. I work with people who aren't even entrepreneurs. I work a lot with parents, a lot with couples, people trying to conceive, people trying to get married, people trying to build their business. Of course, it's where it all really started, was a wealth conversation. But the wealth conversation turned into the wealth alignment. And now this curriculum, this codex of information, this piece of legacy that I leave to the planet was born. And it consisted, or it does consist, of the primary fundamental basics of what it takes to become successful in life. Now, success is a very subjective term. It is absolutely different to everyone. Okay, you find someone who doesn't have a nickel to their name and they're living in, Costa Rica blind, singing all the time. They're happy as heck. They're successful. You see Wall Street famous, can't hold a relationship together, cheating on his wife, all of this stuff, and bills and kids, disrespecting him, makes all the money in the world. Successful? Would you call that successful? Makes all the money he can, rips people off, can't figure himself out. There are people out there who just go traveling and they just love living that freedom lifestyle. Guys, success is completely specific to who you are, and exactly what you want is your level of dream. So I learned this program, and I had to piece it together. It was like the universe was showing me coach after course after program. It was like going to university of success. And I've basically put them all together in a program for you guys. And this is a special announcement, is that it's piece by piece by piece that we're coming out with this program called the Wealth Alignment. And it takes you everywhere from your mindset, okay? Having to go inward, and about the power of thought, the power of belief, the power of your feelings, the power of your emotions, the power of your everything that happens, your potential, the inner game is important. It's the most important thing. It's the reason why I won't sell or approach someone who doesn't have their mind set, because their mind is already set. And if your mindset is an open, coachable, willing, positive, looking for looking at the bright side of things, and really, looking at what could be and seeing the solution and everything, and don't worry, we'll get them next time. Instead, there are people out there who live and they're like, I wish I could be successful, but it's just not for me. And the desire to be successful is there, but there's no door for them to get in. Their mind is so closed. The same thing with me. I can't do this job anymore. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to go and become a business, and I'm going to become I'm going to do this business thing. My mindset was it was tied and squished up so hard that it wasn't absorbing any new information. I knew it. I read the book. I know that. So then why aren't you having the results, bro? And I was basically like, yeah, that was my challenge, is that mindset was one of the biggest challenges in there. I was spent all this time compiling all the skills. And this is where I'm like, wow, this is going to be so much fun for you guys, because the second chapter of what we do together is all about the skills. It's about what to do. What actions do you take? How do you communicate? How do you, the how is very important. It's a very small piece. It's like the pin on the point on the ball of the pen, but it is still the action that you take. It's the thing that you do with the programs that your brain tells you to do. Your skills need to be developed. And that's why you see people, Tiger Woods hitting golf clubs all day long, because, golf balls all day long, because you have to perfect your skill until it becomes completely unconscious. Everybody knows this. Well, not everybody, but most people who are studying the law of success and personal achievement, they understand the levels of competency, that you have to become unconsciously competent at the skill. Because if you tell me, or you tell someone wet behind the ears, oh, go and build your network marketing business. Here, just text 25 of your friends and tell them, hey, I got a really sweet opportunity. And I'm like, I don't want to do that to 25 of my friends. the skill is not there. What if they reject me and they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, sure, and they're gonna avoid me, and it's gonna be weird seeing them at family parties, and the skills need to be finely tuned. So there's that really big curriculum that there's one that goes inside of the brain, and then there's another that goes inside of what do you do, and what exactly is it that you actually go out there to create. Then the next curriculum comes into your spirit set. This is a word that I came up with. Because I'm like, your mind, body, and soul. Okay, so there's three components to this, right? You've got your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and then your intuitions. And this is really where it started to get really big. What's your purpose here, guys? What's your actual purpose on this planet to be here, to do things, and to help people get through? What is it that your soul was sent to this planet to do? I'm pretty sure it was not just to pay bills and die. And you don't need to come up with something so super crazy and powerful in order to say, oh, I've done it, or I have something. You don't. You can just help people become more and more successful in their life. And this is one of the Zig Ziglars that I learned. If you want anything in life, help someone else achieve it. If you want to get something in your life, if you can help other people get it, you'll get what you want. If you can help enough people get what they want in their life. And I've heard this a few times in a few different places. Help others to achieve it. Give it away for free first. Do it for others. Get people there. And it was profound because, I was having a numerology conversation outside of an entrepreneur conversation for the longest time. But the spirit set was that I'm here to divine something. I'm here to, be there for someone. I want to, help them through something. I've got to be this person who helps people and does something for the planet. Like that was like my big ticket idea, was that I wanted to help the world be happy. I wanted to help the world become successful because selfishly, I wanted to become successful. I wanted happiness. I wanted to become financially free. So I wanted to help other people become financially free. That was the whole point. And that's that destiny calling to think, when I'm older, people are going to be like, oh my God, because of Bobby being in my life, like, I don't know where I would have been without this guy, or what direction I would have gone into. And I can already pull out a list of people inside of my heart that have affected my life because of the fact that I was there for them. And then it switched, and then they were there for me. So uncovering this thing, this spiritual essence to you, was one of the most deepest and loving conversations I have about, where we're from and what we're doing here and what our soul's purpose is and all of this stuff. Oh my gosh. It's so unbelievably inspiring to think that we're a walking, talking human robot. Our bodies are mechanical, born and die. We come in, we go out, we go through a mechanical process. Just study medical information diagrams for a good half an hour. Tell me that we're not a highly efficient running machine that needs to be completely intact, otherwise we die. Okay, so realistically, we're a human body. We're a mechanical biomechanism. But then what's driving? What's who's in the pilot seat? That's where your spirit set comes into a really big place. And this is the part that put me on drugs. This was the part that put me on sedation and put me on ice until I was ready to go. This was the part of me that knew no matter what, that I was going to make it somehow, that someday something was going to happen. I just knew it. I just knew it. I just knew it. I just knew it. Even in the face of all of the tragedy, something was going to happen. I knew something was going to happen. It was my mind and my skills that were like slap fighting each other, being like, you're not going to amount to anything. You don't know what you're doing. And this leads us to the next curriculum inside of the Wealth Alignment, which is all about communication. Everything is communication. Even the way I dress up my background here is communicating something to you. The way that I work with my hands is communicating something to you. The way I talk to myself, how early I wake up, the words that I say to myself, the things that I remember, the programs that I run, the food that I eat, the people that I say hi to, the energy that I think of when I give it to people when they walk by on the street. It's all about how do you communicate. Communication is key. And this really dives, and part of the really cool part of the curriculum is a lot of this NLP, hypnotherapy stuff, and really digging deep to go into the the hardcore wires that are really fibered into your being and start upgrading the infrastructure into who you are and how you actually talk about yourself and to others. It's funny, actually. I remember doing Go Lives when I was younger, and I see them when Facebook gives me a memory of how dumbfounded I was to find the right words. And now I focus on enunciation and, making sure the word sounds right. And I take my time, pronouncing them, and I feel consciousness in my mouth when I actually speak, because I know that communication is so critically important. It is the interface of all of the thoughts, programs, minds, everything so far, your mind, your spirit, your mind, body, and soul. How does it interact with the paradigm? That is communication. One of the most powerful, and it's so beautiful to dive into this topic. And I'll explain to you guys how the wealth alignment works in a minute. But the next curriculum after this is numerology. And I was planning on doing numerology at another part of the communication, but I wanted to primer and set people up with the real stuff before we take it into spirituality for skeptics. That's what numerology really is. So in case you're like, tarot cards, astrology, I love tarot, I love astrology, I love you guys. Okay, I'm not dissing that, but I'm telling you, when you look at the math, there is something that's it's like you can't contest. It's uncontestable. When you look at a diagram, you look at an algorithm, when you look at a shape, you have to agree, because we use language as a common denominator between us all. So to see your personality and your character inside of the conversation of numerology, to see how divine timing comes in, how the stars align for you, how the calendar aligns for you, how your names work towards or against you, how that whole blanket of vibration gets mapped out. This is the topic of numerology, and it goes deep inside of that one topic alone, as do they all. They're all extraordinarily deep concepts, but math is superior. Math is the most universal language. You see it in the flower, you see it in the bank, you see it everywhere. You can't build a house, you can't build a phone, you can't go anywhere without it. You can't step into a store and walk out of a store with goods unless you have a certain sense of math involved. So you have to recognize that this is one of the most powerful technologies that you've never been taught. And inside of this curriculum, we dive deep. We get you the full-on comprehensive understanding of everything that you get a chance to go through inside of what it means to know what your numbers are, know what numbers are in your team, know what numbers are showing up for your clients, know what numbers show up for you in your business, knowing what numbers you need to use in order to create a vibration of wealth. This is a very big, strong, like we're coming to a climax here. And this is where the conversation led me up until I became a coach myself. Because the last and final topic inside of the wealth alignment is leadership legacy. This is where duplication happens. This is where you get a chance to see yourself as a parent, as a teacher, instead of a child or a student. Up until this point inside of the wealth alignment, we're growing, we're students, we're always students. Up inside of our business as an entrepreneur, we're learning how to create a thick skin, we're learning the skills, we're learning how to have the right mindset, we're learning how to connect into the community, the bigger divine, we're learning all of this stuff. And then what happens? You've got these baby sales, it works. You're like, oh my gosh, I made a sale. Oh my gosh, I have a new business partner. Oh my gosh, someone's joining my organization. I've got a new wealth partner. Someone's going to do this with me. We're partnering up. We're going to create a team. We're going to take on the world. This is it. I found my business partner. I've made a sale. Look, the checks came in. The products are there, and they're humming. They're ready to go. They want to change their lives. I did it. And that's the next conversation is, now what do I do? And then comes in the conversation of, well, do you know how to be a leader? And it's funny looking at my kids, they're teaching me leadership. I look at them and it's funny. I don't believe my parents had this same experience with us because of the transition in technology. By the time I was a kid, I was on video games. My parents weren't doing that kind of stuff. But now when my kids are on video games, I connect with them. We appreciate the same stuff. I go to their school, it looks very similar to the school that I went to. The programs are the same, the conversations are the same, the teachers are the same, but not, it feels, because they're like, oh, so much changes between generations, but it seems as if now we're all melted into this same idea together. You know, with the advance of technology, things just went, instead of doing one of these, now technology just is one of this. And now we're on it's like everything that you know is frozen, and now it just goes up instead. It no longer goes sideways. The mechanical ages are done. It's all digital this, you know, push a button that, 30-second timeouts on your phone. If a web page takes more than 20 seconds, you're like, something's wrong with my Wi-Fi. Something's wrong with my interwebs. Am I getting a bad connection? And the brain starts going off when you're not at high speed. Everyone remember dial-up? Like, you remember, my dad's like, get off the computer, I'm expecting a call. And I'm like, oh, can we just get a second line? Can't we just get ADSL? Like, you know, I was like this little tiny snotty-nosed kid, right? But the vibration that we're getting, or the conversation here, is how do you help your newest entrepreneur weave through the 4-year shit show that I just went through? How do you get them to produce, duplicate, and accept and understand and take on these concepts so that they can become self-serve entrepreneurs? And they're like, don't you worry about it, I got you. Instead of, can you help me? Can you help me? Facebook is doing, can you help me? I need help. I don't know what to write. And this is the deal that we deal with, the challenge that we deal with as leaders is, I wish I had 10 arms, and I wish I could just help everybody at the same time. So when we take this on as a curriculum, as a topic, this whole thing that we went through suddenly gets another set of lenses on it, and we go X-ray. And we start to take a look at this. I'm no longer the one falling down, you know, like scraping my knee, being like, oh, it hurts. My bike fell on me. It hurts. Now I'm the one buying a bike for my kid, making sure she's got a helmet, making sure I'm out there watching her. I'm the one in the leadership being like, oh, I remember back then. I remember back then when I used to get hurt. I'm going to be there for my kids now. Oh, I remember back then when, you know, I was talking to someone and they said no. And I'm like, fine, screw you. I got to go buy. And then, you know, I hang up the phone and, you know, and I'm like, you know, now I'm the person, I'm going to be the leader who says to the person, leave them alone. Do not touch the people that you're close to. Here's the temperature test. If they say no to you and it pisses you off and you feel like your, you know, life is over, do not pitch to them. These types of understandings that you don't know when you're a baby entrepreneur. And you're not going to understand this until you go through the training and the, you know, the modules and the videos. And we are so blessed with a plethora of information, community, programs. I've got a list of entrepreneurs of mine, people of mine who work their own program, their own system, their own thing, their own, you know, training, you know, their own education systems, and they're all so super amazing. But this comes back down to skill set. If you learn it once, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. If you don't continuously learn it and learn it and learn it until you can do it with your eyes closed, it's not unconscious. You don't have it already set as a mental reflex on the body. Like, you know, my dad takes me golfing, and I gotta concentrate. And when I hit a good shot, I'm like, whoo, yeah. And it doesn't go very far. But man, did the ball hit? Did it click? And it just went, ding, and it just went, boo, straight. And I'm like, oh, baby. And I didn't even hit it too hard, and everything just went super right. And then there's the ones where I'm thinking too hard, and I hit it, and then the ball goes, and it goes out. Because by the time I come back down, my club is open, and I'm basically like, you know, curving out the ball. So my dad's like, give me the club. Watch this. All you have to do is this. All you have to do is just, you know, and he's not giving me any training. He's not, his training is this. He's like, here, this is what you got to do. See, you just got to do like this. You got to do like this. And just like, you know, and I'm like, do like what? Like hop around and shift your weight. And then, you know, and then just feel into it. And then just, you know, and then he presses the club and then he goes, oh, bam. And the thing goes like 10 times as far. And it's just like, was so effortless. He didn't even swing it that hard. He's like, yeah, there you go. See, just do that. And I'm like, the only reason why you're that good and you know what you're doing is because you've been doing this since I was a kid. You've been doing this for like 20 years, man. Like you're unconsciously competent. You get this on a very powerful level because you like to golf And you're always in it. I love golfing, but I don't golf all the time. Not yet. Okay, I don't have my own set. But when I'm with my dad, I like to go shoot some balls because it's nice and I love the feeling. And I promise you, golf is a wonderful sport to master because it means that you have to spend time on a weekday in the middle of the day and pay like a lot of money for golf tees and a lot of money for golf fees and also for, you know, like clubs and all that stuff. Like it's an expensive sport to play. It's a gentleman's game. You know, so to know that I can play it, it's one of my biggest dreams is to get good. Right now on a golf card, I put smiley faces. I'm like, you had fun. You had fun. You're not going to keep score here. Right? No need to do that. But the reality is that as a leader, we have to learn how to inspire our young entrepreneurs, our young people in our business. And sometimes you got lucky or your name was great, but then your team doesn't have that same luck. Or maybe they aren't as powerful as you yet. Maybe they're still on their holy shit show for 3 years before they get there. How do we minimize that? Because in that 3 years, how many times do businesses fail? 9 out of 10. How many times do entrepreneurs quit? More than we want to admit. How many times do we fail ourselves? How many times do we pick up even more worse habits? We go into a really negative spiral because in the name of success, you know, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and we get into more debt. We buy more products. We buy more things. And we have to consistently do the simple things over and over and over and over. So the wealth alignment, love golfing, right, John? Let's go golfing. So, you know, the wealth alignment was born and spawned off of a desire and a need to totalize, encapsulate all of the information that I was taught, learned, and gleaned from the shoulders of giants, from Napoleon Hill all the way up to, you know, Joe Dispenza, like everywhere in between, from the spiritual to the scientific to the psychological to the, you know, the straight up technical, all the way into the deeper thought, all the way into getting your ass on the ground and really running. And so, like, you know, to see this equation, the wealth alignment equation, will not change. There is no other piece to this puzzle. You got to get right with your mind, body, and soul. You have to learn how to communicate to yourself. You have to, well, I guess this is the part that's kind of weird. Numerology, where does that even fit? To know that there is a fabric of spirituality that has divined itself on the technical level. So you get a chance to look at what the gods are doing and put it right back down into 3D where we can actually measure it and take a look at the psychology and the personality map in a much, much, much bigger light. And then invoking leadership, which is the ability to help move it forward. So when we come down to this conversation and you guys are like, oh, I've been doing this. So what's the deal here? Like, so what's the offer? What's the special announcement here? Like, where are we going to go from here? Where we go from here is this. The wealth alignment is going to exist in a few different fashions, okay? So you're going to get a chance. This is it, the very first time. The very first place and space to experience this wealth alignment is in one-on-one with me. Okay, now it's going to take us about 15 to 20 hours. And for anyone who knows, you know, what I charge, it's a little hefty of a price. I get it. Okay, so we could do it one-on-one and go fully in depth and literally program and upgrade and align every single thing in your life. What we're going to do is going to chop it up bite size. So there's a tiny version, and this is where we are today. And this is the first launch of the wealth alignment. You'll see me talk about this. You're going to see me get comfortable with this. So get comfortable understanding that when I talk about the wealth alignment, I mean the total package around every single thing that you need to know in order to create the success that I've created in my life, as well as the success that I look to create with my future by following the footsteps of giants, okay? So there's the wealth alignment one-on-one. We have the private wealth alignment for you, just you and me. Let's just do this. It'll be completely tailored to you. And we run through this completely on our own, okay? Then we have the wealth alignment webinar. Now this is the offer for you guys, okay? So I want to share this with you guys here. If you're watching this on a site, you're going to have the link right below you, and you're going to be able to get in with me. Absolutely, you can. But this is the very first time that we're seeing this, the Wealth Alignment webinar. And this vibration here that we see, is that right? Is your ability to be part of history. You're going to be part of absolute, like the first frontier of history here. Your chance to be a part of it is going to be the Wealth Alignment webinar, where we actually film this live. So for those of you on the site, you're going to be able to go through a similar process where you can purchase the Wealth Alignment as a webinar. It's going to be a 3-hour condensed version of all of this. Okay, so what I'm talking about here, we go into depth. Even on a 3-hour webinar, we got enough time for like a half-an-hour module for each topic, and we'll have nice, sweet, awesome, powerful time together. It'll be an uplifting, absolutely powerful place. This is going to happen next week, and I encourage you guys to be there. It's going to be so much fun to explain and to share and to teach and embody this knowledge for you guys and help you guys embody it for your wealth, your teams. I'd absolutely suggest that you pull your people onto this and you make a very concerted effort to be there. There will only ever be the very first time. But when we look at this information, it circulates. It continuously happens. It has to be something that you install in the framework of your being, okay? So we have the Wealth Alignment webinar. That is a 3-hour event. And then we're also going to have the Wealth Alignment seminar. And now this one is a full event. This is a full all-day workshop from morning till night. We just go in there and chisel these programs in, and we dial in on exercises and breakout groups and, you know, Q&As, and, you know, we have these internal shifts together. We do guided meditations. We'll treat you and pamper you on a full day experience. Oh my goodness. Is it going to be the most amazing thing ever? A full one-day experience for you and your team. I will come out to whatever city you need. You just let me know, and we will absolutely put it together. It's going to be so much fun. Guys, can you imagine having a one-day workshop or a one-day seminar where it's really, really powerful information that you're going to hear, see every single place you go, to be able to say, I go to the gym and my gym is the Wealth Alignment. I take this information and I master it. I go to the end and I come right back to the beginning again. And I get so good at this that I could do it backwards, upside down, inside out, in through time, whatever it needs to be. I can speak inside of this. I know my mindset is set. I know my skills are set. I know who I am. I communicate with myself. I understand alignments, and I know what my leadership is like. Some of you guys excel in 1 or 2 or 3 of these areas. Some of you guys excel in all of them. And some of you guys are just really scared, thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And it's okay. It's fine. I understand. Probably not for you. If you're feeling like I can't do this or I don't know, then it's really clearly not for you. And I hope that you would absolutely enjoy the content. And, you know, follow me on Facebook. I do go lives every day. I do free readings every day. I drop value every day, because there are some people who are just outside of the I invest in myself conversation. So if you are investing in yourself, then hey, after the seminar, we have the retreat. Oh man, the retreat is a 5-day intensive on a 7-day all-inclusive, where we take you and we pamper you to the limits and the ends of your entire growth manifestation, where we take an entire day to really dive in on a full, in-depth, and absolute intimate place. We get a nice Airbnb, we get a nice venue, absolutely powerful foods. You work out with us in the morning, you meditate with us in the morning, we journal together. Can you imagine spending the most powerful vacation week? We're going to do the most beautiful vistas all over Vancouver Island. We're going to do this in Bali. We're going to go to Australia with this. We're going to go everywhere with this, guys. We're going to tour the States with the retreat. It's going to be a wonderful program for you guys to be a part of. And this is the upper end. You got to work through them first. You have to take this bite size by bite size. Some of you guys are ready and said, give me the 6-week program, bro. Give me the one-on-one, dude. Give me the longer term session. I want to see this. We're in production right now of the long videos, the long content, okay? But right now what we're going to do is we're going to put together the small one. We're going to put together the bite sizer. And this is where you guys get a chance to do it. tinyurl.com/the Wealth Alignment webinar. Get your tickets for next Friday. It's going to be this time next Friday. Your mind is going to be so open. It's going to be absolutely unbelievable. If you're watching this and you're seeing this on there, you get instant access to this in a couple of minutes. and you get a chance to say, sorry, Netflix, I'm with Bobby tonight. Let's get this thing started. Let's get this thing running. And as a one-time, absolute amazing, like powerful bonus for you guys for going in on the wealth alignment, I'm going to give you an entire report, numerological aligned report for you for all of 2020. All of 2020, for you to be able to start this decade off with a bang and to know that what you're dealing with now, it's like peanuts compared to the absolute success that you have before you. I absolutely truly believe in you guys. Like I really do. And if I didn't, what would I be doing here? How could I believe in myself and not believe in the people who trust me, and believe in the people who have opened their hearts and their souls to me time and time again, to go and book their session in and have a one-on-one with me and have this most profound spiritual conversation that you've never ever had in your entire life, based on your birthday and your name, from someone who's, I get it, I'm funny, I'm fun, but we don't know each other. I wasn't there with you. I'm meeting you for the first time in some cases. And yet I know you and say things to you better than you've ever known yourself. It is unreal what we've got to be able to do inside of here. Your gift, no extra charge, a report valued at over $500. I'm going to give it to you guys with your admission, with your program, with your seminar. Sorry, this is the webinar. This is just the one-time. I'm not showing you guys the bigger ones just yet. You're going to see those as they come out. But this one here, special announcement, the wealth alignment is here. It is landed, and it is going to be the most powerful experience that you'll ever go through. So I encourage you guys to be there. What is it going to cost you to not be there? Well, you could do this. I've done it. It took me 5 years. I'm still doing it. I will always be doing it. I just wanted to make it easier. I wanted to pave the road for you guys. I want to put lines on the road. I want to put street signs on there. I want to put lamps on there in the dark. I want to create a super highway for you to access your wealth consciousness, to find the alignment of your wealth. And this is exactly why we're doing this, because I promise you, I am consistently dedicated to your success. And I appreciate you guys so much for watching. It's been a great time. This is unlike anything I've ever compiled before. And I promise you guys, this is going to change everything. This is super exciting. And you guys are seeing it here first. For those of you guys who are watching this live, words can't even express how much love and care I appreciate in all of you guys for creating this and, helping me to create this. For all of my mentors, all the people who believed in me, all the people who took a chance on me, even when I messed it up over and over again in my life. I am super blessed that you guys would be here with me through this. I promise you guys, this is going to get super amazing. It's going to be absolutely crazy. There's going to be a study course. You're going to get a chance to connect with me on this is going to be a shorter, like 3 hours, still, set your evening aside, event where you're going to be able to be interactive. We're going to hear from you guys. You guys are going to get in there. We're going to record this so that those of you who are watching this on the website get a chance to access this now with real life people who I've been building my legacy with, building my business with this entire time. So I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much. I love you guys so much from the bottom of my soul. Every single one of you guys, I appreciate you. From the ones that wind at my back to the spit in my face, it's been one hell of a journey so far. And we're just getting started. We're just getting started. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching today. You guys have a great rest of your time. Go ahead and click on the link below. Get your spot secured. If you're watching the replay, you're seeing this on a site, get instant access now. Like, what are you waiting for? Let's build your success. You joined a business, you created an organization, you created a business for a reason. It's probably about time that you fill in all the gaps, that you fill in all the holes, and that you get the primer on what it means to be successful and how to create a successful magnetism in your life. I'm Bobby F. Perryhar, the solution artist, the ultimate numerology, whatever you want to call it. I'm here for you guys. I always will be, and I appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you guys on the inside. All right, take care. Bye.